Hi, my name is Nathaniel. I'm currently year 3 in Ngee Ann Poly studying financial informatics, and here is my TFI exercise.
Hi, today I'll be showing you guys my week 6 practical, which is basically we have to uh, collect data from a website that creates fake names and information and put this information into the website called RPA Challenge. So what I have done is basically I first built a user data table which will be used to store the information that we collect. So as you can see, this is the columns and that we will be using, and the data table is called users data table, which is a variable here of data table type. Next we have an input dialog, which would request the user to input how many names and information they would like to retrieve, and the result will be stored in a variable called number of names, which is a string. Then it goes through is match activity, which will use regular expression to check if the number of names is a digit, or if it's not a digit. Then the result will be in boolean form in the checker, so if it is a digit it will be true, and if it's not it will be false. So it moves on to the flow decision, where the checker will be used to identify if it's true or false, and if it's true it will carry on. However, if it's false, it would go back to the input dialog to request for a new input. So after we move on, we'll be going through a web activity that is to open up the fake name generator website and retrieve the fake names and information. So what we do is we have an index variable of integer type that is default as 0, and then we'll be checking against the number of names. So this will let us know how many iterations we have been through. So while the index is less than the number of names, it would continue running the body right here. So first we want to click the generate button, which would then generate a new fake name and information. Then we get the text of the full name, and then we use anchor base to find the phone element, and then that would help us get the text for the phone number and the company as well. So all these variables are stored within their respective variables here: full name, company name, and phone number. So after which there's a add data row to the user data. So we use this array to store the data that was collected into the data table that we created just now, the users data table, and then we add one to the index to indicate that we will be going on to the next iteration. So once the index hits the number of names, then it would stop. So after this, it would close the tab called fake name generator by looking at the browser, which is a variable of browser type that was initialized here. So we have initialized the fake name generator as the browser, and then it will close this browser at the end. After which it will move on to the web activity for RPA challenge, which is the next website, and then it will input all the data. So we have a for each row which checks through the users data table row by row to get the information. Then we use anchor base to find the first name label and input the first name. So how we input the first name is using this set of code where row item 0, which means that the first first column of the row to string, and then we get the substring where the row item dot index of is space, which means that we find the first space in the entire word. So that will be the cutoff point, and 0 would be the start. So that will be the first name. So from the first character to the space. Next, we have anchor base for the last name, where we will find the last name label using a find element, and then we use a type into using a similar expression. However, the difference here is that instead of using 0 to the row item 0 to string index of, we will be using the row item 0 dot to index of +1. What this means is that it finds the first space, and then it will ignore that space, and you will look at all of the characters after the space. Next, we have the anchor base for the phone number, which simply goes to the row item 1, which means the second column, and then just to string it. And similarly, it uses the find element to find the label, and then so that it knows where to put the input. And same applies for the company name, where you will find the company name element and put it into the company name. Lastly, we have a click the submit button, and then it will close the RPA challenge tab using the same way that it did with the previous web activity, where the browser is assigned when we have the open RPA challenge right here. So now I will show you the code while it's running. So it will allow you to put the number of names you want to retrieve, and let's say if you put something that's not a number, you just request for you to re-enter the thing. So let's say we put 10, and then we go with OK. So you first open the fake name generator, and then it will generate the names. So as you can see, it's clicking the generate, and you can see William L. Simpkins. So as you can see, the space is after William, which means that William will be the first name, and the rest behind will be the last name. So currently it's collecting the 10 names, so it will take a while to go through all the names and collect all the data. So now it has collected the 10 names, so it closes the application, and now it will open up the RPA challenge. So as you can see, RPA challenge has been opened up, and now you put in the data based on what it has collected. So this is the second iteration, the third iteration, fourth, fifth, the sixth iteration, seventh, eighth, 9, and 10. So after this, it will close the RPA challenge, and as such it has completed the entire run. So as you can see just now, the labels, the input boxes for the RPA challenge was changing, but it still is able to find the area where it's supposed to input in. Thank you very much for watching.